You're now listening to the Sacred Soul Podcast. Hi, everyone, and welcome back. I am so excited to dive in with you today on episode 2. We are going to be talking about a subject that is very passionate for me, and I almost feel a sense of protectiveness over this subject because we are diving into the body. We're diving into the flesh, and this body, this flesh, gives us everything that we need to experience life, love, hardship, grief, passion, expression. And I feel that we as a society don't understand the body enough to honor it and to cultivate a sense of deeper awareness of how to heal the body. And when I say the body, it also hosts mind, emotion, spirit, energy, all of these things that we sometimes have a hard time navigating. And I felt really called to talk about this subject of the physical body today because I was scrolling on TikTok as usual, and I've been hearing a lot, especially in the spiritual community, this narrative that we are just a meat suit and that's all that the body is. And the first time that I heard that statement from someone, I immediately felt this sense of curiosity to explore it deeper because I felt that it held no weight. I felt that it held no truth. Because when I think about the physical body and the human experience, I really do think about the hard things that we go through, grief. I think about love. I think about commitment and devotion to another person that you want to spend the rest of your life with. I think about the first time I had a baby out of this body. I think about dancing and art and creating and expressing. And I do know that we are more than just a meat suit. And I think that when people envision our spirit and our body, they see it as two separate entities. But really what I've been shown from spirit and kind of through my experiences with working with the other world, it's really not that we're two separate entities. The body really does host the mind, the emotion, energy, connectedness. And I don't even like to refer to the body as like the flesh. I like to refer to it as the soil because it really does allow this sense of expression, right? Our soul expression, it allows that nourishment, that fruition, that sense of allowing to show up in the world and be who we are. The body is that root, the soil. And that's actually what it means to be grounded. It's to be radically self-accepting of all of your experiences. And I think that when people think of being grounded, it's this idea that you just go put your ass cheeks in the dirt and you hug a tree and then you're like, I'm grounded. And it's really not that. Being grounded is being fully accepting of every part of you, even the parts that you find as flawed or broken or ugly. It's accepting all of your experiences and being able to find the wisdom in everything and leave behind the pain and then self-liberate. Self-liberating is self-regulating, and that calms the nervous system and that allows us to be grounded. And I think that a lot of people don't understand what it means to kind of allow the body to express emotionally, especially when it comes to anger and these denser emotions that are really hard to navigate. I feel like the first thing that we ask as a society is, how do I get rid of it? How do I escape it? How do I not, be angry or not be jealous? Or how do I control my emotions? And that's the thing about feelings, is that they don't want to be controlled. They want to be felt. And the more that we try to squeeze and, put our anger in a chokehold, the more that it screams at us, the more that it wants to be loved. You can look at all of your emotions like a child. You, in the body and the conscious awareness, you are the higher self to your emotions. You are the higher self, the mother to all of the things that you embody. In order to understand yourself and to actually release the anger, you have to feel it. You have to be present with it. It's not about shunning or vilifying or demonizing the things that we don't want to experience because it's hard and uncomfortable. It's about loving it. It's about loving yourself. And that radical self-acceptance is what anchors you. It calms the nervous system, and then all of those emotions become less heavy and they start to dissipate because it releases its grip on you. It no longer feels like it has to scream to be heard, because then when you're present with yourself, everything kind of can rise up and be processed and cleared out in a healthy way. And that is healthy for the body. Just like when we work out and we dance and we're active, you sweat. You let out all of the toxins. That is the physical body's way of releasing toxins that are in the physical dense body. And think about your emotions. We have to cry to release it. That is the pour for the emotions. It's crying, it's screaming, it's being present in the discomfort and feeling, man, this fucking sucks. And it's okay to feel like that. Of course, when our feet are in the mud, it's really hard to see the brighter side of things. But honestly, we're not called to see the brighter side of things when we're sad. We're called to be fucking sad. When we're angry, we're called to be angry, and that is okay. We're always trying to escape emotions. We're always trying to make it better or make it feel less heavy. But honestly, I think that we're trying to regulate in those moments by having a sense of control, because as a society, we're not taught to surrender. We're not taught to be led spiritually. We're not taught to take the path of least resistance and allow the body, the pour of the body, to just release the emotional toxins. And I feel that vulnerability is the greatest thing that we're called to do in this lifetime. And that is what the body desires. It desires to be vulnerable. It desires to be seen and recognized and understood as is, even in your depression, even in your hatred, even in your jealousy, even in your discomfort and your flaws, or whatever you think is wrong with you. The body craves to understand that deeper so that then it can be alchemized. A lot of the times we are so afraid of vulnerability because that almost makes us feel very bare, exposed. It's very Garden of Eden, where you feel butt-ass naked in front of somebody else and they're seeing everything. There's nothing to hide. And when there's nothing to hide, we lose our sense of control. And you know what it is? It's not that we technically lose our sense of control. It's that we no longer can control how this person sees me. I can't cover my heart. I can't cover my flaws. I can't cover all of these things that I try to hinder and hide because I'm afraid to look at those things in myself. And when we're bare and vulnerable, everything is seen by everybody. You are exposed. You are in your raw form. And now we can no longer dictate what other people think about us and how they perceive us. We show up controlled all of the time. Even in this podcast, like, I'm performing for you and I'm telling a story, and I think I'm still trying to be vulnerable with my words, and I'm trying to talk from my root chakra and not from my brain. But even things that you don't see is I'm pausing and I'm gathering my thoughts, and that's going to be edited out. We're always showing up filtered. I have fucking makeup on. I have a nice shirt on, you know? It's like we're always trying to show up in a way where people can look at me and say, oh, I like that. That's nice. I want to respect that. I want to honor that. We show up very packaged with a nice bow on top. I think it's really hard for people to be vulnerable because when we allow people to see us for who we are, they create opinions, judgments, things about us that maybe we don't resonate with. And then we feel misunderstood. We feel outcasted. We may even feel rejected from people, from the way that they see us, because there's a lack of understanding, there's a lack of connectedness, whatever it is. It's their perception of who we are. And what happens is we have a tendency as humans to internalize those beliefs, and then we think, oh, because that person thinks I'm ugly, I must be ugly. Oh, because my mom thinks that I am lazy, I must be lazy. We start to internalize judgments and things that people feel about us and make it a truth. And what we are called to do is to be liberated humans by giving people their opinions and judgments and creating a sense of peace around that, and knowing that everyone is entitled to their own opinions and beliefs, and knowing that how we feel about ourselves is the most valid thing that we could ever tap into, how we feel about ourselves. And so we don't have to go and internalize what people say about us, even if we don't agree with it. When we allow ourselves to be in ownership and authority over our body, our emotions, our energy, we can then alchemize it. I think that we go through a lot of hard experiences in life, whether that be your boyfriend cheats on you, your dog dies. I mean, you can think of the worst. And things that are also very mundane that we can go through that cause a sense of hardship for us. All of those experiences are there to serve and help you, but we internalize them and we blame people for how we feel, or we blame situations, circumstances, and that gives the power to that thing or entity or person to dictate your mood. And so what I've learned from my own experience, because I've been a victim for 25 years of my life, and I'm 28 now, and I've done a lot of healing work around being a victim and being a martyr. And that's why I feel like I can talk about it confidently, because I've been through lots of hardship as a child, and growing up, I had a lot of anger inside of my heart. I actually started anger management when I was in kindergarten. Believe it or not, that sounds crazy, but I was a very young girl hosting a lot of intense feelings, a lot of intense anger, and I did not know how to control it. And that was the problem. But I didn't learn that until years and years later, when I finally realized that I could never heal from those experiences, whether that was sexual assault at a very young age, physical abuse, and just growing up in a very chaotic household. I always looked back and I said, I am who I am, and I am this way. I have a lot of anger because of that thing that happened to me, because of this person, because of my dad, because of my, whoever hurt me. I never healed from it because I was no longer in authority of alchemizing it. If we continue to put blame on other people and say, you made me feel this way, I am this way because you did this thing to me, what we're doing is we are disempowering ourselves and then giving all of the authority to that person, and they will continue to be the dictator of our bad mood, of our depression, of our anger. But what we can do to heal that is own your shit. And that goes back to being grounded. An anchored person, a secure person, is owning your shit. I feel angry today. I feel mad today. I feel jealous today. Whatever it is that you're feeling, own it. Because when you are the owner, you're the CEO of your body, you call the shots, you can make the changes, you can heal it. But when you are not the CEO of your body and emotions, who's going to change that? Not you. And that's never going to be healed. So you have to put yourself back in the leadership of your body. And that's very hard. Do you want to know why? Because it's easier to blame other people for our feelings and emotions than to actually heal it. It's easier because when we can blame somebody, it's like the responsibility's on them. Even just looking at emotion in and of itself, there's no responsibility in happiness and rainbows and butterflies and all the good things in life. You just feel good. But there is a duty and a responsibility and a call to heal when you are in grief, when you are in hardship, when you are in heartbreak. There is something to do there, something to find, something to experience and learn so that we can transcend past it and liberate the self. And even when we're looking at the spiritual community and the religious community, if you grew up in a religious household or with any sort of religious structure, I'm sure that you've heard people say, reject the body, the flesh is evil, you should reject jealousy, depression, anxiety, lust, sexiness, all of these things that are very normal to feel. If we're disconnected from the body, we're also disconnected from the spirit. If we wish to know God deeper, our spirit guides deeper, our higher self deeper, we have to go to the body first. Would you like to know why? It's because God is the artist and we are the art. If you go to an art show, how are you going to appreciate the artist of the paintings if you think the paintings look like shit? Or if you can't find something to appreciate in the art that the artist created? You have to appreciate the body because there's so much more to it than really meets the eye. It goes really deep. The body and the emotions and the experiences here are very neutral. Nothing from the spirit side is labeled as good or bad. Our own moral compass that is created by empathy from how we grew up, the structure that we grew up in, societal structures and expectations, religion, all of that sort of gut, instinctual things create the patterns and habits that we set around what is good, what is bad. And so when we are taught to vilify the body closes off. We are no longer able to have a conscious awareness in the body. Our body is very intelligent and knows how to heal itself. If the body's not awake, how can it heal itself? If the emotion is not awake, how can it heal itself? It can't, because there's no awareness here. All we are doing is being up here in the mind and the intellect, which is great. But even in that, if you look at the spiritual community, there's all of this talk about the ego death. Kill the ego, your ego is bad. And I think now we've evolved a little bit in the spiritual community where we talk about your ego is your amigo and like this like honoring of the ego. But I think that the ego is not something to control either. I think it's something to build a relationship with. When you have a relationship with something, it's like this emotional reciprocity. It's an energetic reciprocity and deeper sense of understanding to work together as one. And you hear it all the time, even in the spiritual community. Mentors and spiritual teachers will often say, try not to say my anger or this is my anxiety, because you say that it's yours, you claim it, and then it deepens that wound, or it's able to like run wild untamed. But even that vilifies our depression, it vilifies our emotions, it vilifies all of these things that are actually very common and normal to experience. And if we continue to not want to take ownership of these things that feel scary or that are hard to experience, again, we don't have control over it. We don't have a sense of ownership. So then we can't alchemize it. We can't change it into something that is for us and not against us. Everything that happens in life is for you. And I think that the greatest thing that we could ever do is shift our perspective of how, number one, how we see ourselves, how we see our body, how we see our emotions. And when you enter into a space of being really triggered or having a really activated body, when someone pisses you off or your boyfriend cheats on you or literally anything could happen under the sun and you become triggered, all you have to do is be present. It really, I think we make it a lot harder than it has to be because we're very much here in the mind when we need to be here in the heart to create better habits for ourselves and the way that we hold space for ourselves. Many people that I've had conversations with about low vibrations, good vibrations, I think that we are more inclined to be in a high vibration and we're more weary to experience low vibes. And I think that we might even see that as bad vibes. And I think that that comes again from a lack of understanding of what energy is and what that kind of looks like from a more energetic perspective. And I just want to offer the narrative that low vibes are not bad vibes. Low vibes are dense energy emotion that can come through as sadness. It can even come through as jealousy. It can come through as nervousness. It can even come through as excitement. And sometimes we feel that in our gut because when we're excited, it mixes in with insecurity. We start to get nervous. Oh my God, I'm about to do this thing that I'm passionate about. Even though I'm excited, I feel nervous because what if I'm rejected? What if people don't understand? All of these things start to come up for us that make us start to doubt. Doubt is a low vibration. But again, low not meaning bad. It just means to be anchored into the body, into the hips. It's the awareness of being in the body, being actually grounded. And if we can travel down into these areas that feel scary to embody, we'll find that there's a lot of wisdom there. Being in a low vibration is a call to be present with yourself. It is not a call to escape. It is not a sign that you're not supposed to be doing whatever you're doing. It's about creating discernment around the things that you are willed to experience so that you can grow, so that you can feel more secure, so that you can create better habits around how you show up. Low vibrations are doors of opportunity for us to shut down cyclical patterns and habitual patterns that leave us hindering our own growth. So the next time that you're triggered or that you feel that you're going into a bad vibe or a low vibe, I want you to just take time to be present with it and to not vilify it. Don't jump at it with a reaction or a negative, false belief that creates this narrative around it that it's bad or scary. Just sit. See what the body shows you. See what there is to find about that moment, about that experience. That is a beautiful moment for you to recognize in yourself that you are growing. It is in those moments that we evolve. Nobody has ever evolved from being fucking happy. Nobody has ever grown from being happy. We grow from being sad. We grow from being uncomfortable. We grow from being annoyed because that is the window, the door of opportunity to help us see something deeper within ourselves. So allow it, be in the flow. Take the path of least resistance. That is the highest vibrational path. It's to go where you're being called. Whatever emotion comes up, that is where you're being called. Don't resist it, because that resistance is going to create so much more discomfort because you're fighting the body's natural desire to feel these things. And it's normal, it's human. That's why we're here. So if we can just embrace that, you will become grounded in that. You will become anchored, more secure, because there's no part of you that you reject. There's no part of you that is hindered by its own conscious awareness. That is how we heal. And so I will leave you with that. Take that with you and do with it what you want to. But always remember that everything is for you. And if you can look at it that way, you can shift and heal and change everything that you don't like about what you're feeling or experiencing. But there's always something to learn. And I hope to see you here in the next episode. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. Thank you.